11 days ago, you stood in Copenhagen with the title. Today you have suffered an early exit. How big of a contrast is it standing here?
I mean, obviously it's a big contrast when you just won the last lane and win the final of the major as well. So two finals in a row. But also I think that the conditions is always tough when you're not playing with your full five. I think Christian did really good considering the circumstances, but yeah, it just wasn't enough. You know, we had a 15-11 lead on the third map against OG, which we should have closed. And then today it was like 14, and CT knew again we had decent money. So, you know, we had the opportunities, but yeah, the small percentage just wasn't with us this time.
From the outside, it didn't look like Christian conflict was the problem with him being one of the highest-rated players for you guys. But do you think it impacted your team play in general, bringing in him as a stand-in?
Yeah, of course it affected our team play. We didn't really expect anything else. We knew he was going to shoot hard, and so he did. But when you practice with a guy for like 5 days compared to someone you played with for I played with Martin for more than 3 years, you know, obviously there's a lack of team chemistry. But I think again, considering the circumstances, it was a joy to play with him, to be honest. Christian is an amazing player. And he was shooting really hard. He basically also won us a Mirage against OG with a 30 bump. I think the most important part for him is to create consistency. And I'm not talking so much about consistency in game. I think like the surroundings, you know. If he can make sure to be stable in the surroundings around him, he'll be a top player for sure. I mean, he already is, and that's also why he thinks sometimes when people say he needs to prove himself, that it's a bit. How can you say that? Because he's been good for so long.
Do you think he deserves a spot in a top-tier CSGO team after this tournament?
I mean, not just because of this tournament. I think in general he's a super good player. Whether some of the top teams want him or not, that's not up to me to decide. But I can say that I had a good time playing with him.
Why tougher to implement him than you expected?
Both yes and no, because I think, you know, there's some secrets and philosophies that we don't want to go in full detail with and explain, because we feel like that's our secrets and we don't want to give that up for like one tournament. So we tried to integrate him as much as we could without going into the nitty-gritty. And again, I knew it was going to be difficult, but yeah, I think especially the OG game we should have won, and then the circumstances would have been very different.
This was the last time we will see Heroic on the server this year. What can we expect from the next year?
I mean, it's been an awesome year, really. From the Katowice semi-final in the beginning of the year, playoffs at both majors, quarterfinal exit at the Antwerp one, and final in the Rio one, winning the Pinnacle tournament, winning the Blast one, integrating Jabby and just developing as players and as humans being, like just rewinding the entire year. I did it like a few days ago in bed, and honestly it's been a really freaking awesome year for Heroic. So yeah, I hope that it will be even better next year.
Is next year the time for you guys to take the last step and conquer the very top of the game?
I hope so. I mean, it's always difficult to, where does this leave us, you know? There's surely some extra question marks regarding outsiders after winning the major and exiting in the fashion they did here. Like, we played without Stavn, who's such an integral part of the team. So who knows how it would have went if we had him here. So, you know, the last two tournaments, I think we already showed that, we are one of the best teams in the world. The rankings also say that. But obviously, you know, we won 2 titles this year. Next year we want more, and we want to create more consistency as well. But I think looking at our results with the Yabby ever since the last Pro League, it's just been really nice.